Getting started in a seated position, you are welcome to have your eyes open or closed, and we'll just start to take a few deep 360 breaths. If it feels all right, you can put your hands on your ribs to really bring awareness to the ribs expanding. As you breathe in, feel the rib cage expand side to side. Fully exhaling. As you inhale, feel the ribs expand front to back. So as we use this 360 breath, we're feeling the rib cage expand in all directions, front, side, and back as you breathe in. Really emptying the exhale. If the eyes are closed, you can open them. We'll reach our right arm up and really lift that right shoulder blade up, moving that right scapula into elevation. Our left ear will come to the left shoulder, and we'll continue to side bend over toward the left to get a nice stretch in the right side of the body. Come back up, release it down, left arm lifts up, glide that left shoulder blade up toward the ear, right ear comes to the shoulder, and we'll side bend over toward the right, getting a stretch in the left side of the body. Come back up, hands will come to the top of your shoulders, and we'll just alternate rolling the right shoulder back and the left shoulder back. We always want to roll our shoulders backwards instead of forward, since we spend so much time with our shoulders rounded forward that we really want to open up the front of the chest by rolling backwards. Bring your wrists into extension so your palms will face forward. Really try to spread your fingers. Look down at your hands, and we're going to lower one finger down at a time. Making your way slowly into a fist. Thumbs will cross in front, and we'll pull the knuckles back toward the forearms as hard as you can. Take a big breath in. Out through your mouth. Circle your wrists in both directions. We'll do that one more time. Bring the wrists into extension. Lower one finger down at a time, starting with the pinkies. Thumbs will cross over, knuckles pull back. Big breath in. Out through your mouth, circling both directions. Make your way into quadruped, coming onto hands and knees. Shoulders will come right over your wrist, and we'll just start to move through some cat-cow. You can move at any pace that feels good. Pelvis gets to tip forward and back. Each part of the spine is moving, doing a little bit of flexion and extension. So our lumbar spine, the lower back is moving. Thoracic spine, the mid-back, right around the rib cage is moving, all the way up into the cervical spine if you're moving the neck. Come back to that neutral spine. Think about a broom behind your back, touching the back of your skull, shoulder blades, and sacrum. Right foot will step right through the hands. Left knee stays down for low lunge. As you lift for your low lunge, make sure the pelvis isn't tipping forward or back. So draw those two pelvic points in, reach your arms up, and really reach your fingertips up toward the ceiling, feeling the whole rib cage lift up and away from the pelvis. Think about that big 360 breath here. Really firm this left glute. The more you use this left glute, the more of a stretch you're going to get in the front of the left hip. We're going to lower the hands down. You can come onto the fingertips, or if you have a yoga block, you can put a yoga block under that left hand. Right arm will reach out to the side, and without moving the low back or the pelvis, rotate your rib cage, that thoracic spine over toward the right, and then let the left ear release to the shoulder. We're going to add some arm circles here with this right arm. Moving that right shoulder, but hold that low back still so that we're not twisting in the pelvis or the lumbar spine. Lower that right hand down. Step that right foot back in. Left foot steps through. Coming up for that low lunge, check that upright pelvis, draw those pelvic points in, reach the arms up, and really lift your shoulder blades up toward your ears. Firm that right glute. So again, it's almost like we're trying to push this right pelvic point forward to open up the front of that right hip and right hip flexor. Lower the hands down. You can come onto the right fingertips or lower that right hand all the way if that feels good. Left hip crease moves back, so we're not twisting in the low back or the pelvis. Left arm reaches out to the side. Rotate your thoracic spine, so just the ribs to the left. Right ear will release down to the shoulder so the neck is relaxed, and we'll add those circles with that left arm. Lower that left hand down, step that left knee back in. Take 2 rounds of cat-cow to stretch it out. You can either take child's pose or head to downward dog if that feels good. We'll just take 2 breaths in either child's pose or downward dog. If you're in downward dog, lift your hip creases up without straightening the legs and lift your front ribs up toward the back body. If you're in child's pose or downward dog, we're going to meet back in that quadruped, lowering the knees back down. And we'll step that right foot through again. This time, if you'd like, you can tuck the left toes. And we'll lift up for that same low lunge, holding that pelvic bowl upright, zipping that pubic bone up. We'll bring the hands to the top of the shoulders again and do that same shoulder roll here. So as we roll the shoulders backwards, you can have a little bit of that movement in the ribs, but hold the pelvis still. So very little movement, if any, in the lower body as we roll the shoulders back. Lower your hands, right foot steps back to quadruped. Left foot steps through. Maybe tuck the right toes. Lift up, check that upright pelvis, make sure it's not tipping forward or back. Fingertips come to the head of the arm bones or top of the shoulders, and we'll roll the shoulders back. Maybe a little bit of movement in the ribs, but keep drawing those pelvic points in. Firming that right glute. Lower the hands down. Step back to that quadruped. This time you can either take downward dog or child's pose, and we'll take 2 breaths. Really feel that 360 breath. Rib cage expands side to side, front and back. From child's pose or downward dog, we'll transition onto our backs. Feet on the mat, knees bent. Check in with your triple S, feeling the back of your skull, shoulder blades, and sacrum on the mat. We'll extend the right leg up any amount. It doesn't have to come straight up. It can be more diagonal, and the leg doesn't have to be straight. We just want to feel a gentle stretch behind that right leg. And we'll slowly move between plantar flexing, pointing the toes, and dorsiflexing, pulling the toes back toward the shin. So you're just going to do that a few times, moving slowly between this point and flex of the foot, noticing where you feel a stretch in the foot, the calf, the hamstring. Keep that right foot flexed. Cross your right ankle over that left thigh. We'll pause here, taking that right hand and pressing that right thigh away to stretch the outer right hip. Make sure the sacrum doesn't lift up, so keep the sacrum right above the tailbone down, drawing those pelvic points in. If you want to feel more of a stretch, we'll bring the arms into a goalpost shape, bending the elbows, bringing them up toward the face, and maybe even picking up that left foot. So as long as we don't interlace the hands here, we're keeping it an active stretch, really focusing on the stretch in that outer right hip. If it feels good, you can add a little bit of rocking side to side. Noticing that when you rock to the left, you're going to get more of a stretch in that outer right hip. And just try to keep that 360 breath going. Release that left foot down. Bring that right knee in toward the chest, and we'll start to circle this right hip in both directions a few times. Really work on not letting the pelvis do the moving, but just that right hip joint. Release it down, switching sides. Extend your left leg up any amount, as long as you're feeling a gentle stretch. We don't want it to be too intense on that hamstring right now. And again, slowly point and flex the foot. Noticing where you feel a stretch when you plantar flex, pointing the toes, and dorsiflex, pulling the toes back toward the shin. Few more times. Keep that left foot flexed, cross it over the right thigh. Draw those pelvic points in, make sure the sacrum is down, shoulder blades and back of the skull. You can take that left hand and press that left thigh away. Feel free to stay here or goalpost the arms. Pick up that right foot for a deeper stretch in the outer left hip. If you've goalposted the arms, make sure your scapula haven't popped up. So we still want that triple S on the ground. Add a little bit of that gentle rocking if that feels good. Release that right foot down, then the left foot. Both knees will stay bent. Roll onto your right side. Bend the knees as much as you'd like, and you can bring them in toward the belly or the chest as much as you want, letting the head relax. Making sure that we've still got that neutral pelvis, so we're not going to twist it all in the low back. We're going to keep that feeling of drawing those pelvic points in. Right arm will reach out to the side with the palm up. Left palm will start right on top of the right. And the left arm will open up and back. So again, we're just rotating in the thoracic spine. So don't force that left arm all the way to the ground. If it feels better to goalpost that left arm, you can stay here. And if you'd like, right fingertips can walk over toward that left side of the chest, left side of the shoulder, and just do a little bit of release on the fascia or the tissue here. We tend to be really tight in the front of the shoulders, front of the chest. If you need a little bit more pressure, you can use your knuckles. And just slow that 360 breath down. Undo your twist. Left arm comes back over. Roll through center. And set up for that twist on your other side. Roll to your left side, bend your knees. Knees can come in as close as you want toward the chest, but keep that feeling of the broom behind your back. Left arm reaches out, palm up. Right palm will start on top. Head will relax. Right arm opens up and back. It can be straight or you can bend that right elbow. Eyes are welcome to close. And again, draw those pelvic points in, so we're only rotating where the ribs are in the thoracic spine. If you'd like, left fingertips can walk over toward the right side of the chest and shoulder, and just do a little fingertip massage or fingertip release here. You can use your knuckles if you want a little bit more pressure. Notice if you can still feel the ribs expand side to side, front and back. Undo the twist. Roll back to center. If it feels good, you can either hug your knees in toward your chest, take some rocks side to side, or you can come into a happy baby, lifting up the feet and rocking side to side. Grab wherever you can grab on the legs or the feet. When you feel ready, we'll come into Shavasana. You are welcome to keep the feet on the mat with the knees bent. That tends to be a really good option if you tend to tip the pelvis forward. So if you find that lying with the legs out doesn't feel good on the low back, just bring the knees bent, feet back on the mat. You can even bring the soles of the feet together and externally rotate the hips if that feels good. So just find yourself in any restful position. Eyes will close. Relax your forehead. Relax your jaw. Come back to whatever your natural breath is. Stay here as long as you'd like.